Welcome back to the Athletic Baseball Show for Thursday, August 23rd. This is On Deck, and I'm Stephen Nesbitt, and I'm joined, as always, by Levi Weaver. Levi, you're not going to be on the next show, though. This, as always, isn't going to work anymore. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I have just about fully recovered from my second ever bout with COVID. I have got a little bit of cabin fever because I've been trying to be responsible and not go out. And other than that, I'm ready to talk about some baseball with you, Stephen. Today we are going to talk about some AL West madness. It's getting crazy in the AL West. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to preview our series of the week. We are doing today's the arms race portion of our game center, that's my favorite one because I'm winning. And also, Steven is going to rank for us the top 5 foods you should eat if you want to have tasty burps throughout the day. I cannot wait.
We're
Can't
actually going to
wait for
go
that one.
immediately into the corrections on omissions segment, which is where I say I apologize. It is August 24th. For anyone who lives their calendar by what we say on the pod, Thursday, August 24th. So stay with us. We're going to keep up from there, and I don't think any mistakes the rest of the way. So, Levi, things got tight in the AL West. We've seen the Mariners be the hottest team in baseball at time of recording, just as the games are getting underway on Wednesday. The Mariners have won 8 in a row. They just beat the White Sox Tuesday with even with no Julio Rodriguez, who's been sick. This note I saw out there, this is the latest in the season. Seattle has been within a game of the division lead since August 25th, 2007. So the anniversary of that one coming up tomorrow. And Astros have won 2 in a row. Verlander just went 6 shutty against the the Red Sox. He punched out 8, I believe it was, maybe 9, and also gave one giant FU to Alex Cora. So that was a good time. And the Rangers have lost 6 in a row. Just lost to the Diamondbacks 6-3 after going 2 for 10 and with runners in scoring position and leaving 12 on base. That's how you lose a ball game. And so it's gotten down to all teams within one game entering Wednesday's action. Texas still ahead. Houston is half game back. Seattle 1 game back. They're all in playoff position currently. Levi, this is not what I was. I think start of the season you would have projected a couple a couple more AL East teams getting into the mix, but currently they only have Tampa in that first wild card, and of course Baltimore way out front. So the AL West, surprisingly
Yeah,
fascinating division this year.
yeah. And I kind of expected this, but I wasn't sure if maybe I was just too close to the action. Covering the Rangers for the last few years, you could see this beginning to develop in Texas. I kept telling people they're going to be better than you think. I don't think they're a World Series contender this year, but I think they're going to make the playoffs. Like, I think they're better than you think. And that's been the case. They've been in first place all season, but they are having one of those moments. It's a 6-game losing streak. They lost the last game to the Angels, um, which, at that point they were on a huge winning streak. So no big deal. Whatever. You drop one of the Angels, these things happen. Then they get swept by the Brewers. And you go, oh, geez. Well, the Brewers have great pitching. The offense kind of fell apart for the Rangers, but the pitching has still looked pretty good. Like the starting pitching has been fine. And if you have good pitching and defense, you're going to be okay. Well, now they've lost those 2 to the Diamondbacks, and it's a 6-game losing streak. It's their longest of the year. It's not looking great. Jonah Heim has not quite looked himself since he's come back off the IL. He can only hit left-handed, and he's been chasing, I think, a little bit more than usual. Josh Young still on the injured list. Nate Eovaldi still on the injured list. But the numbers, when you look at them, like the offensive numbers, the Rangers offense has been kind of streaky all year. They'll go out and score 10 runs for like a week in a row, and then they just won't be able to figure out what is a baseball. Are we supposed to swing at this for like 4 games in a row? I'm not super worried about them as far as like what this tells us about this team. But man, it's coming at a very bad time because the Mariners are on absolute fire. The Astros are the Astros. We knew they were going to be better than they played for the first couple of months of the season. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's one game separating these 3 teams. And you look at what's coming up next, right? The Rangers go to Minnesota. Minnesota's not a great team, but they are another first place team. And meanwhile, the Astros are going to Detroit, which is not a very good team. Seattle, by the way, is playing at home against Kansas City. So I am going to just throw out my first extremely hot take prediction of the season. What are we, August 24th, as you said?
Mm-hmm.
By Sunday, I believe that we are going to have a new team in the AL West, and I believe it's going to be the Mariners. I am sold. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they will be in first place by the time Sunday night gets here.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, look at that. I
Yeah,
didn't
what
know
about
we were
props?
bringing props today. Had I known, I would have said that I actually think the Rangers are going to stay in first place
Oh,
through the
did
weekend.
you?
They're going to figure things out here. No, this will, I didn't, I was just convenient that I had this on. You actually brought props to the stage. Yeah, this is exactly what you want heading down the turn here into September, is that you're going to have a division race this good. Now, the expansion of the wild card means decent chance that all three teams get in. We had the debate a couple weeks ago, and it's getting even more. Um, turning even farther in the Seattle side. But would Toronto or Seattle get into the dance? And only one of them is probably going to do it, unless the Rays are chased down or Houston somehow falls out. But boy, you have
Or
to
the
feel much
Rangers. I
better.
mean,
Or the Rangers fall out.
don't
Yeah,
don't rule any team out of falling out of contention at this point. It's possible.
yeah. The Rangers just haven't looked themselves lately, but I still think they have what it takes, especially if Max Scherzer is more of the vintage form we're seeing on and off here. John Gray got beat the other day, but I think he's had a really nice season.
He's been
So
so good lately. Just
yeah, so
no
I
run support for him for some reason.
I feel good about where they're at. Houston, I can't bet against them, and Seattle. I mean, look at what they're doing right now, and they do not have the most fearsome lineup out there, right? We were talking earlier this year about how they had three of the highest strikeout rate guys in the lineup with Teoscar Hernandez, Jared Kelenic, and Eugenio Suarez. But they figured it out. They figured out a way to scratch across enough runs. Of course, with Julio being at the head of that lineup, and have a rotation that is a fascinating one in my mind. It's got Luis Castillo as your true ace, your number one, even though this was supposed to be a rotation built around Robbie Ray a year ago. He's out long term, of course, and Marco Gonzalez was there, and now you have this bunch of kids out here, and they've been doing such a good job. Where you've had Logan Gilbert, you've had Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, George Kirby. I was telling some folks yesterday, it's not supposed to be this easy. You're not supposed to bring up these guys and have them all pitch effectively in a postseason caliber rotation. And they really could take their pick which three of those roll into the postseason as their top three. But I feel good about what they've done lately, and certainly, but it's getting close. So I like
It
the
also
Seattle call
helps.
coming out of the weekend.
It also helps when Julio Rodriguez has, and this is going to sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not, for 17 straight plate appearances in which he put a ball in play, a 1,000 BABIP. Literally 17 balls in play in a row that fell for hits. Or there was one that he reached on error.
One error,
But
yeah.
he reached base on, so I guess it's not literally 1,000. 17 balls in play, 17 times on base. That is, as Jason Stark wrote recently, we think this is the first time that's ever happened. That'll definitely give a boost to a team's hot streak when you have just weird magic like that happening. So good for the Mariners. Happy to see them succeed. Let's see where things go over the course of the next, what do we got? Like just over a month and a week left in the season. It's getting down to it. It is time for our series of the week. Let's go to Stephen J. Nesbitt to hear the teams that he would like to talk about this week.
Hey, that's me. Hey, so the series I picked here was the Reds visiting the Diamondbacks. This is a 4-gamer. Actually does have quite a lot of playoff implications here. We're a little early to say that, but these are two teams really in the running in the National League. They're going to need a wild card spot. And this is like all of the rookies of the year candidates in one place at one time. So Cincinnati, where they stack up here is they are currently half game out of the wild card, 4 back in the NL Central, 65 and 61. They've been just okay lately, I would say. And the bad news they've gotten lately is Nick Lodolo had another stretch fracture in his left tibia, on rehab assignment, and he's out indefinitely. So, all right, that has been answered. He's been out for quite a while, and they're not going to get him back. So Hunter Green, Graham Ashcraft, Andrew Abbott, that's your top 3 as you're rolling down the stretch and into the postseason. Could be worse. They have a good bullpen. And when you look at their lineup, it's been pretty hit or miss, but it's completely reliant on these rookies, right? Well, TJ Friedel, first off, needs to be talked about more. He's having a great season and currently 11 homers, 23 ribbies,
It's a
but this is like
slippery slope.
20,
It's a
30 type
slippery
guy.
slope if you start mentioning Cincinnati Reds rookies.
Yeah.
We only have like about a 20-minute window here for this podcast, and we could be here all day just talking about Reds rookies.
We saw the note just Tuesday night when Ellie De Cruz, who has cooled off, but is still obviously a very good player. He was the quickest in MLB history to 10 homers and 20 walks in his career, 64 games. Barry Bonds got there in 65. Take that, Barry. Matt McClain is having an excellent rookie season, batting 295, 363 OBP. We all know how I like OBP. 14 homers, 11 steals. Spencer Steer, 18 homers, 11 steals. Noelvi Marte just came up. So they are a really interesting team. Probably not supposed to be here quite yet, but hey, you're here. Might as well get across that line to the dance.
And weirdly, like, don't forget when we're talking about their rookies, it was only 2021 that Jonathan India won Rookie of the Year. So, like, it's not just the rookies; it's also the second-year players too. This is I cannot get over how like cool the future looks for the Reds right now, and it just makes me wish that Joey Votto was like 30 instead of 39, because I would just love for him to be there for a long stretch of success in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and we mentioned Andrew Abbott earlier. He's been fantastic, especially how necessary it's been for him to be showing up and posting because they had those big injuries over the course of the summer to Green and Lodolo. The Diamondbacks, they currently have the last wildcard spot. They did it with Alec Thomas making a beautiful catch on the warning track in center field on Tuesday night, racing back to the track against the Rangers to help finish them off in the ninth inning. And they're being driven by the guys you would expect. Corbin Carroll's been great, 21 homers, 38 steals. Come on, he's having he's at the start of an incredible career. He's going to have Tommy Pham, Christian Walker. You saw what he did to me in the homer chase last week. He's been great. And the pitching side, Zach Gallen's superb. Seen better things lately from Brandon Pfaadt and Merrill Kelly's had a good season and of note, really, Paul Sewald starting to settle in after he had a couple rough outings. The probables in this one, before I hand it over to you, Merrill Kelly against Brandon Williamson, Brandon Pfaadt against Hunter Green, Zach Davies against TBD, and Slade Ciccone against Graham Ashcraft. So I think that stacks up pretty evenly, except for TBD, who has a little bit of work to be doing.
On my end, we are looking at the Dodgers and the Red Sox. I know I talked about the Red Sox last week, but there's just not that many great matchups happening this week. It's a lot of kind of good teams against kind of bad teams, or very good teams against very bad teams. Dodgers, Red Sox, you have an extremely good team against a team that is gonna have to make up its mind soon. Actually, we're past the deadline. They don't have to do anything, but they're on the brink. The Red Sox are currently 5 games back in the wild card. As I mentioned, we've got about 5.5, 6 weeks left of the season. They are 66 and 60. Meanwhile, the Dodgers 76 and 48. If you want to look at the run differentials, that probably tells a better story of the two teams. The Dodgers are at plus 138. The Red Sox are at plus 27. On the Dodgers side, Mookie Betts is on an absolute tear right now. He has a 419 batting average for the month of August. He has 7 home runs. He's slugging 797. He has had a little bit of good luck. He's had a 453 BABIP in this month. It's no Julio Rodriguez, but that's very good results from when he's putting the ball in play. Slugging 797 will do that. You're hitting the ball where they're not. It's not just been like he's getting completely lucky, but maybe a little bit lucky. On the flip side, Miguel Rojas, who's hitting only 212 for the month, he's only got a 170 BABIP, which actually is very bad luck. I mean, you don't have a bad BABIP that low. Especially he's got like a 6.9% K rate this month, so he's not striking out. He's putting the ball in play, just not getting great results. The thing that has been the most interesting to me about the Dodgers, looking at their August statistics, it's time for one of my patented quizzes where I quiz Steven on the dumbest, most like specific statistic. The Dodgers have had 20 pitchers throw at least 1 inning in the month of August. 20 pitchers. How many of those pitchers would you guess have an ERA of under 2?
Of the 20, I think 10.
You're very close. It's actually 11. 11 of the 11. More than half of the Dodgers pitchers. And that's not just a bunch of relief pitchers either. Amongst the 11 include certain starting pitchers such as Clayton Kershaw, Lance Lynn, and Julio Urias, who has really come to town. So, yeah, I mean, they just look like a juggernaut. The Red Sox, by the way, for comparison, have also had 20 pitchers pitch in the month of August. 10 of them have an ERA of 5 or over. Only 3 have an ERA of under 2. And one of those happens to be infielder Pablo Reyes. So I feel like the Dodgers have a really good shot at sweeping the Red Sox. And if they do, I think that's probably curtains for the Red Sox already this far back, this late. And if this doesn't do it to them, I mean, their next series, they are, where are we at here? I wrote this down. So currently, as we speak, as we're recording, they're 0-2 against the Astros. They will play them again tonight, Wednesday. By the time you hear this, they will play them again. And then again Thursday. Then they come home, they face the Dodgers here. And then after that, they face the Astros again. So by the end of July, like they don't face anyone else for the rest of August, not July, the rest of August. That's going to be a pushover. Just as I predicted the Mariners would be in first place by Sunday, I believe that the Red Sox will be fully out of contention by the end of August. But shout out to Tanner Houck, who is back after being hit in the face with a line drive. That is a little silver lining. At least he's back after 65 days on the injured list. Congratulations.
On to my honorable mentions, I mentioned, or you mentioned that there's not too many strong matchups here. There are only 4 series here where both teams are over 500. That's kind of where we like to reside with our series of the week. It does make our arms race picks a little bit easier because you're having some pretty lopsided matchups this week, but we'll get there. The 2 I wanted to mention, the other 2 positive record team matchups, Atlanta going to the Giants. Giants are just a half game out of wild card. And the Rangers going to Minnesota. We already mentioned 1 game up in the division for Texas, 5 games up in the division for Twins. Really have no one chasing them. Athletic had a big story earlier this week about the relative historic weakness of the AL Central. So go read that. All right, Levi, you know what time it is. It's time for us to step into the On Deck Arcade and make our arms race picks for the weekend. If you haven't been following us, good. We make 1 starting pitcher pick every weekend. We cross off a team as soon as we pick it one weekend. So we're getting down to the last 10 or so. And we put those 2 guys up head to head and use the game score 2.0, which is a fancy number, fancy stat that's on Fangraphs that takes into account outs recorded, hits, runs allowed, homers, walks, strikeouts. That's it. You put that all in the calculator and it comes out golden, always in Levi's favor. Levi currently leading 12-3 in the season matchup. I am mathematically eliminated, but that's not going to stop me from making a fantastic pick today. Levi, I am going to cash in.
You take whatever wild hacks you want. Like, it doesn't matter. You should swing for the fences every time.
I'm going to cash in one of these tickets I've been holding and not get too creative. I'm going Garrett Cole. I have not picked a Yankees. Garrett Cole against the Nationals on Thursday. Yankees L9 at this point, lost 9 in a row. And he was not good his last time out, but I think he's going to bounce back, continue his Cy Young campaign, and really help me out here. I need it.
I don't know how to look up who's going to be starting beyond the MLB.com app, and they're always kind of the last to update because it has to be officially approved by the team, which is why I'm so terrible at this game. I don't know when Kyle Bradish is starting next. He last started on August 20th. He will either be, though, however, like sometime in the next week, he is either going to be at home against the Rockies or at home against the White Sox. So whichever one of those teams he faces, I'm fine with it. I don't know when it's going to be, but he's going to face one of them. Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles. Final answer. Lock it in.
To give credit here, I always look at Fangraphs roster resource, which is not official, but they just do a good job of mapping it out. They have him going Sunday against the Rockies. Should be a good matchup.
Perfect. I'll take it.
All righty. Well, it's time for us to go. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to Brian for producing today's show. You can find our work all week long at theathletic.com. Subscribe to The Athletic for $2 per month for the first year at theathletic.com/baseball show. Sign up for the Windup, the Athletic's daily baseball newsletter with Levi and Ken Rosenthal for absolutely free. Coming up next in your feed, the 3-0 show. DVR, Eno, Britt, coming in your ears. They're going to be a great thing to listen to there. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be great. Trust me. Give us a follow on Twitter. Levi is at 32EFIS, and I'm at Stephen J. Nesbitt. The 2 of us will be back on Monday with more of What's on Deck.
So on your burp list, carrot cake, that's a top 5er, right?
It's a
like it has
top
to be.
5er. Yeah.